Alright guys, so in this chapter we're going to be creating a web mockup for a mobile application. Now creating content for the web has different requirements than that for print. So in this video we'll start by creating a new document for web or mobile use and then start adding some artwork to the file. Now I'm beginning here with Adobe Illustrator already open and I'm starting from the start screen here. And so I'm going to create a new document by either choosing File, New, or by simply clicking the Create New button from the Start screen. And in the New Document dialog box, you're going to notice that there's a couple of categories up here at the top for different types of documents that you want to create. We've covered these before in other videos. And because I'm creating a mobile application, I'm going to click on the Mobile category. And if I choose View All Presets here, I'm going to see a list of all the options that Illustrator makes available. Now, it's also worth noting that if you scroll down a bit, there are some free templates, you'll notice right here, that as a Creative Cloud subscriber, you can download and utilize in your designs. So when you're mocking up items and you want to display them in a certain way, you can take advantage of some of these free templates. And if I wanted to, I could even grab, the shell or the interface of the phone to bring into my designs as well. Now I'm going to scroll back to the top and I'm going to choose the iPhone 6 Plus, which is actually the same size as the iPhone 7 Plus and 8 Plus as well. But over here to the right, you're going to notice that the pixel dimensions of that file are displayed here. And you'll notice the unit of measurement is changed to pixels as well. Now, if the preset that you're looking for isn't available, you can always just custom change these values to whatever you want them to be. Now, if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll notice that the color mode is set to RGB because we're creating web-based content, and the raster effects is set to 72 pixels per inch. Now, what that means is that any raster effects that you add to your file, such as a drop shadow or an outer glow, is going to be rendered at 72 pixels per inch. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click the Create button, and that's going to create a new artboard and a new file for me to work in. Now, a few things to mention is that before we go too far, I want to show you that if you start with an existing document and you want to change the color mode on the fly, you can do that by going to the File menu and going to Document Color Mode. So if this artwork started out as print-based content and you now want to use it for the web, you can just go to File, Document Color Mode and change it right here. All right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of interface elements to my file. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Layers panel. I'm going to double click on Layer 1 and I'm going to call this Interface. And I'll go ahead and close that. Now what I'm also going to point out here is that when you're creating artwork in a web or mobile-based document, you're going to notice that in the control panel, way up here in the upper right corner, you have this guy that's enabled by default. And this button indicates that the art is going to be aligned to the pixel grid on creation and when you transform it. You can also click on the drop down here, and that'll bring up a little window that kind of shows you what this option does. So as you can see, it's basically snapping to the pixel grid, and what that does for you and me as artwork creators is that our artwork is going to be very crisp, because instead of it possibly going halfway over a pixel and being rendered kind of fuzzy, it's snapping to the pixel grid, and you can define options here as well. So I'm just going to click OK here. And now you should just know that when I actually create my artwork, I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, it's going to snap to that grid. So I'm going to go ahead and click once with the rectangle tool, and I'm going to set the width to 1242. That's the width of my artboard. And I'm going to set the height to 200. And I'll go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to set the fill to black, and I'm going to set the stroke to none. And that's going to allow me, I'm just going to go ahead and position this in the upper portion of my artboard. And if I zoom in, you'll be able to see, let's go ahead and get up here, you'll be able to see how it jumps to the next closest pixel, and that ensures that your artwork is going to be crisp. You'll also notice that when you deselect an object, over here to the right, under ruler and grids, you can show your ruler, you can show the grid, and you can show the transparency grid as well. Now, and then down here in the snap options, we can see that we're snapping to the grid. You can turn it off, and then right here is the same option that we have up here in the control panel. So really, really nice feature. So I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key, and I'm going to make a copy of this down here to the bottom. And again, real quickly, I'm just going to zoom in. You can see I wasn't quite there. Just make sure I snap to that grid so that my artwork is nice and crisp. So always think about the intended use of your artwork and pay attention to the dimensions of the file you're creating. In the case of web, this will be the pixel dimensions of the file, as well as the raster effects resolution, as well as the color mode being used.